Okay, make sure we get it consistent. It's a 20-second shutter. Run away. Hey guys, it's Karlo and welcome to part 2 of our car nighttime photography series. Now today we're going to be talking about how to set your camera settings and use a tripod for long exposure shots. Alright guys, first thing you're going to need when setting up a long exposure shot, make sure you guys have the right gear. So today I'm going to be using a zoom lens this time. Now the zoom lens has a higher aperture, but it doesn't really matter because when you're shooting a long exposure shot, you don't want to have your aperture too low anyway, because it might create too much blur and your subject won't be fully focused as well as your background. So you want as much, I guess, focus as possible on your shot. So yeah, so today I'm shooting on a Sigma zoom lens. It's a 18 to 50 millimeter with a 2.8 f-stop. So, and same camera, going to be shooting on a Sony A7s3. So I've got my cheap little tripod here. Now don't cheap out on camera gear because you want to make sure that your camera is safe. Now I got this tripod for free. I actually found it. I'm not going to tell you where I found it, but I did find it. So it is a little bit flimsy. It's a bit more on the flimsier side. Like, it's really light, which sometimes people pay for the light, you know, the light gear so they can carry it around. It's a little bit more portable, but in this case it's just really cheap. So don't cheap out on your stuff. I just thought, okay, I found a free tripod, let's shoot. But you know what, it'll do the job. So make sure you have a tripod first of all to do long exposure shots. So right now I'm gonna set up my camera for the shot. So as you can see, it's pretty dark. If I were to kind of shoot this just normally, so let's just trial it out here. Let's go to a 30 shutter speed. ISO, I'll bring it all the way up, let's say to 1000, and bring my thing all the way down. See, it's just not enough. Like, look, it's -2. Like, that's probably the best I could do in terms of settings handheld. So I'm definitely going to need long exposure to kind of expose this shot a little bit better. So let's set up our settings here. Oh yeah, we're going to be shooting the Boss's RS3 again. So as you can see here, if it was set just with the settings that I would use handheld, it's just not enough. So what I'm going to do is, because we're actually using a tripod, that allows me to drop my ISO all the way down to the lowest setting, which is 100, which means there's going to be little to no noise, or as little noise as possible. So I'm going to bring my aperture up, let's say to about 5. That's a comfortable number. I'm sure we can get good enough focus there. Get good enough focus, and I'm gonna play around with my shutter speed here, and that's gonna allow me to expose my shot right. So keeping in mind here, see how it's under by 1.3 now, by 1 stop, that's 3. That's a perfectly exposed shot. Now make sure it's positioned right. See, now look, see how temperamental camera settings are? As soon as you move it a little bit, now it's under by 1. So I'm actually going to play it by ear because that looks a little bit too exposed. So I'm just gonna, I've actually set a timer, a 2-second timer as well. As you can see, it takes a very long time for the photo to be taken, but once you look at it, as you can see here, oh, look how sharp that photo is. Now that is the absolute beauty of long exposure shots. It allows you to actually drop your ISO all the way down So that means there's pretty much no noise in it, and that's literally the sharpest shot you're going to be able to get on one of your cameras because the ISO is all the way down. So let's try it from a different angle over here. We'll go to a little bit more of a darker side to see what the result is here. Now we're gonna attempt a light painting photo. This is another technique that you can use with your long exposure shots just to play around a little bit. But we don't have our professional lighting gear with us, unfortunately, so I'm going to be doing it with a Bunnings umbrella and a light bar. So wish us luck. And yeah, so I'm going to be shooting a 20-second shutter with an ISO of 100, as you can see, and then an f-stop of 13 because I don't have an ND filter. Now let's get into it. I've got my 2-second shutter on. Now I've practiced this about once or twice just to test it. It didn't turn out so good, so we're going to attempt it now and see how we go. So I'm just going to set this now. Okay, make sure we get it consistent. It's a 20-second shutter. Right away. Okay. All right, so it's finished. Let's look at the result. Now this is raw, like this is completely, that's how it turned out. Now, I'm not gonna lie, for my first time actually doing light painting, I feel like I didn't do a bad job here. So guys, that wraps up the second part of our car nighttime photography series. Thank you so much for watching. Comment down below what your key takeaways from this video are. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Hit that little bell icon so you guys get notified for part 3 of our nighttime car photography series. Until next time, see you guys later. That hurt actually. That tripod hit me pretty hard.